Is that this state has designed a system where we can administer 6 million doses, but this week we're only receiving 1.9 million.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria got his vaccination shot inside the gym at Balboa Park. Easy. And Board of Supervisors Chair Nathan Fletcher got one at the VA San Diego. He understands there is some hesitancy still, but is encouraging people to get vaccinated.
And that you have to trust the doctors, and you have to trust the medical experts, and you have to trust all the safety protocols that went into doing this, and recognize when you get a vaccine, it's not just for yourself, it's for your family. It's for everyone around you.
Health officials say they need 75% of county residents 16 and over vaccinated to achieve herd immunity. Right now, 60% of eligible San Diegans have gotten at least one dose, while nearly 40% are fully vaccinated.
The impact that the vaccines have made is unbelievable. I mean, we were going this way, and we are coming round just like that.
Grady Children's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Gail Knight, chairs the county's COVID-19 vaccination advisory group. She says the expansion of eligibility is critical in our goal to getting to herd immunity.
I fully expect that we're going to have enough vaccine to get everyone vaccinated that wants to have a vaccine, and that may take over the next month or two, several months, but we're going to get there.
Appointments may be hard to find, and officials are asking for patience, also reminding people that the pandemic is still here and deaths and hospitalizations are still growing.
The biggest mistake in this country that's being perpetuated are people that are just giving up and not requiring these face coverings and just assuming that mission somehow is accomplished. It's not.
The state is rolling out an updated version of myturn.ca.gov, where there are now more than 200 providers and 1,500 clinics taking appointments, and people can now get both text and email alerts reminding them of upcoming shots. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
With even more people eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine, we want to remind you of our special vaccine dashboard. We're updating all of the local vaccination sites and tracking the county's progress. You can find the vaccine dashboard by clicking the vaccines link on our homepage, kpbs.org. An important update for those of you who received the Pfizer vaccine. The company now says a third shot might be needed. Pfizer says the extra dose, which it's calling a booster, will be needed within 6 to 12 months after a person has received the initial 2 doses. From there, it will be an annual shot, much like people get for the flu. Part of our community hit especially hard during the pandemic is the South Bay, but the situation is improving. KPBS reporter Alexandra Rangel was in National City as young adults and teens turned out for a weekly vaccine clinic.
It's an opportunity that I couldn't miss. So I brought my cousins here, my brother, my mom is here as well.
A family affair for 20-year-old Brandon Reyes, who says his family had a tough battle with COVID-19 back in December. Reyes was one of many young faces that could be seen waiting in line outside of National City's weekly vaccination clinic. With vaccine eligibility expanding in California for people 16 years of age and older, Thursday's line was longer than usual. National City Mayor Alejandra Sotelo Solis says it's a reflection of the high demand still needed for vaccines in National City.
This is about access and no appointment. Walk up, make your way in.
Wife and mother of 2, Carla Navas says National City's high infection rate has been a huge concern.
We wanted to make sure that as soon as we could get it, we're here.
Navas' daughter, Jessica Felix, a 20-year-old engineering student at San Diego State University, says because of the vaccine, she now feels ready to return to campus.
If my parents didn't have it either, I would feel like I would probably infect them or something. I wouldn't feel secure coming back home.
Felix says she's lucky to be one of the 300 people to get vaccinated at the clinic.
Originally, 500 people were actually supposed to be vaccinated, but 200 of their vaccines were Johnson & Johnson, and because of the current pause, those vaccines could not be distributed.
But despite the small road bump, Mayor Sotelo Solis says the city's goal to have 48,000 people vaccinated by June is still on track.
At the rate we're going, we're going to get there and we're going to exceed that goal.
Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
Another big milestone is at San Diego's public schools. Several school districts reopened their campuses for the first time in more than a year. We have 3 reports from Tierra Santa, City Heights, and Chula Vista, starting with KPBS education reporter Joe Hong.
For the first time in over a year, Kate Chasen is leaving her house and heading to school.
I'm feeling good. Now that I'm in my clothes, I have my bag, I have my travel mug of coffee, I'm ready to go and just be at school.
Kate is a 17-year-old junior at Canyon Hills High, formerly known as Sarah High School in Tierra Santa. She's one of the approximately 50,000 students in the San Diego Unified School District who are at school Monday for part-time in-person learning.
It kind of feels like the first day of school. It feels like I'm in September, but it's April, which is a little weird, but I'm ready to go back.
But that doesn't mean things are back to normal. The district has strict health and safety measures in place, and students won't yet be able to hug their friends or teachers who they haven't seen since the pandemic first shut down schools in March 2020. Chasen said she expects to feel very isolated on her first day back.
And very lonely, but also very short. The school day shortened, so I'm looking forward to that. I know it's going to be a little bit off just because it's not totally normal, but I'm looking forward to having somewhat of a normal school day.
Meanwhile, City and San Diego Unified officials were at Encanto Elementary School Monday morning to celebrate the reopening of campuses. Superintendent Cindy Martin thanked both teachers and the staff working behind the scenes to ensure schools are safe.
And you see with me, district staff, whether it's food services, landscaping services, custodial services, getting teachers prepared for online learning through professional development, doubling down on our commitment to equity and making sure our teachers are prepared to teach our students and give them what they need, when they need it, in the way that they need it, when everything around them has changed.
At about 3/4 of the district schools, students will be on campus for 4 days a week for 3 hours of in-person instruction. For Kate, that's enough to feel hopeful about a return to normalcy.
I'm so excited. I'm excited schools are reopening. It's about time. It's April. I'm ready. Let's go.
Joe Hong, KPBS News.
An emotional morning for students and staff at Louderback Elementary School, as it's been over a year since students last stepped foot on campus.
This day means absolutely everything. This is the happiest place on earth.
A special moment indeed for J. Calvin Louderback Elementary School principal Melody Belcher, who never imagined her 4th year as school principal would be remote.
The past year has brought many struggles. We've lost in some of our families here at Louderback have passed to COVID. We have had illnesses. We've had families have to move.
This is why it was important for Belcher to personally welcome back each student as they arrived on campus for in-person instruction, as she knows some parents are nervous for the big day.
We've had them at home with us where we've been safe, where we knew where they were.
Deborah Arboleda, a mom of 2 Louderback Cougars, says she's putting her trust in school officials to keep her kids safe. Arboleda's children will be attending a morning cohort, which consists of in-person instruction for 3 hours, 4 times a week. However, some parents say they're sticking to distance learning as they've seen their children adapt well to the module.
She just joined the band this year, so she just learned her first instrument virtually. She's never played before.
Chantel Johnson's daughter is part of the school's orchestra. Although her daughter will be learning from home, she accompanied her peers as they had their first musical performance Monday morning. Johnson says distance learning is the best option for her family at this time.
It was hard because my kids really want to be back in class, and that's their preferred learning style.
Chula Vista Elementary School District Assistant Superintendent Matthew Tessier says about 57% of the district students are returning to school out of the 30,000 students they serve. He says he understands some parents may feel safer at home, but projects the district will start seeing more students back in school as vaccine availability increases in Chula Vista.
We were a higher rate of infection many months ago. However, those rates have really plummeted.
Tessier says all staff at their district had the opportunity to get the vaccine. He hopes the extra layer of protection on top of the safety measures each school is taking will help keep their community on the right path. Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
It's been exciting to have him back. It's kind of saddening at the same time. He's been home for the last 14 months, so I've gotten used to spending more time with him.
Carlos Brown's son is back in school at Ibarra Elementary School in City Heights. For him, the first day of school on Monday was bittersweet. He was happy to see his son back in school and among friends. but he already missed having him around.
It was very weird because I'm like used to going back and forth, checking on him, feeding him, and overall interacting with them. So it was kind of strange. I had a lot more downtime.
Maria Eva was dropping off her 6-year-old grandson. Without him at home, she says she kept busy and was happy to see her grandson enjoying being back in school.
Oh, sí, bastante disfrutó ayer su escuela porque dice que le gustó bastante venir a la escuela. Y lo trataron muy bien.
She said her grandson raved about the activities he got to do with his classmates, but most of all, his teacher.
Más que nada su maestra.
MC Patton is the school's principal.
We are finally back, and we had about 250 kids on campus yesterday, and protocol, all the distancing, all the signage. The kids are great at it. They've been living in COVID too. We're not the only ones. Just to see kids outside on the blacktop, on the playground, distanced or not, bouncing a ball was joyful, to say the least.
Patton says that in a diverse community like City Heights, getting kids back out and interacting with kids from different backgrounds and cultures is incredibly important.
This is an amazing community. It has so much to offer, and I love it when in the mornings you see, it looks like the United Nations here, and a Zoom meeting with us looks like the UN. We've got 5 languages spoken in being interpreted. We've got people they know this is their home, and there was nothing but I could see the smiles through the masks yesterday. It was easy to see.
For the parents and teachers at Ibarra Elementary School, just the sight of kids on a socially distanced playground had them smiling as well. Max Rivlin-Adler, KPBS News.
Those stories are just an example of the in-depth local coverage here at KPBS. You can find all of our content on the KPBS YouTube page. In addition to reporter stories, you can also stream our KPBS podcasts and episodes of KPBS Evening Edition. This weekend, you'll see even more people cheering on the Padres at Petco Park. This is the team's first homestand since San Diego County entered the orange tier. That means a boost in capacity, with some sections reserved for those who can show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test. The bigger crowd arrives just in time for a highly anticipated series with the rival LA Dodgers. Just a stone's throw from Petco Park, you'll find The Shell. The specially built live performance venue had to wait a while before welcoming crowds for the San Diego Symphony. John Carroll tells us how The Shell will bring music to life in a whole new way.
The Shell, such a simple name for something so utterly unique.
It's magnificent, it's elegant, and it is ours. It is San Diego's.
And for San Diego Symphony CEO Martha Gilmer, it is a dream come true. When Gilmer took over the symphony more than 6 years ago, the orchestra's outdoor concerts were held in the same place, but in a markedly different setting. A temporary stage set up each summer and taken down each fall. The Shell, which was originally scheduled to open last year, will host concerts and other events year-round.
We had a whole season booked last year, so many of those will come forward a year, but there are also new artists that we're going to partner with. And you know, we're going to do movies, we're going to do mariachi, we're going to do full-on symphonic concerts, we're going to do guest performers.
All of it held in a venue that is state-of-the-art in every way. These pictures are from a few weeks ago when the symphony recorded performances to be shown online. They show one aspect of what makes this place so amazing: the lighting design. Lights on the Shell itself and on these towers that will create a feast for the eyes. But it is the sound that elevates the musical experience to stratospheric levels. Sound everywhere, from the stage to the very back row.
There are microphones on the stage and speakers on the stage that create basically an indoor acoustic environment for our musicians. They have the most beautiful blended sound and they can hear each other exquisitely. So the music making is going to be first class.
The large, familiar-looking speakers on stage facing outward are obviously for the audience's ears. But it's the speakers on these towers that will make the sound out here so special.
Those speakers are surround speakers, create a surround sound for the audience. You'll feel enveloped. And also there's a delay in it so that you will have a synchronized present sound.
Sound that will easily reach the shores of Coronado, but Gilmer says the symphony wants to be a good neighbor. The state-of-the-art sound design will help with that.
We have real-time sound monitoring device on the soundboard itself, at the back of this property and on Coronado, so that it's all feeding to the people running the sound.
The design and construction of this new venue goes way beyond the shell itself. A raised berm has opened up a much larger area for seating. The old setup allowed for only about 2,800 max. The new setup will allow seating arrangements of between 3,500 and 8,000. Up to 10,000 for certain special events. And the old food vendor trailers are long gone, replaced by some of the best culinary experiences San Diego has to offer.
We have Richard Blaze, who will be creating incredible meals in the kitchen, fully equipped, beautiful kitchen, 3-course dinners that can be served at your table. We've got Lola 55 tacos, we have Biga pizzas, we have Tracy Borkham and her pasta salads, of course, beverage of your choice.
Apart from the stunning stage, the amazing state-of-the-art lighting and sound, there is another big difference with this new venue. If you were here before and you had to go to the bathroom, there were porta potties out here. Not anymore. There are now more than 60 new bathrooms right here in this hallway, all of it under where the seating area is. When it's not being used for performances, the venue won't just sit empty. 85% of it will turn into a public park. Talk about a great place for a picnic. But as public as it is, the cost to San Diego taxpayers was minimal, the city chipping in about $50,000 of the $85 million price tag. Nearly all of that came from donors. An exact date is yet to be set, but Gilmer says it will open this summer, August at the latest. Then this dream, turned into reality by the work of 133 people from 32 companies, will come to life. It will be here in this breathtaking setting for generations to come, for the artists of the future to continually breathe new life into it.
And make it something that San Diego is known for, looks forward to, and that is just an iconic part of our city.
John Carroll, KPBS News.
Our theme parks are also hoping for a busy summer. At SeaWorld, an expanded reopening is already underway. Matt Hoffman shows us what it means for visitors and the people who work there.
So we know there's a pent-up demand. People have been emailing us, people have been commenting on social media, when will SeaWorld open the rides?
After more than a year, nearly all of the rides are reopening here at SeaWorld, and staff are being hired back.
We're very hopeful that things are moving in the right direction, and we don't anticipate having to go backwards.
SeaWorld Vice President Corrine Brindley says it took a lot of work to get to this point. All of the rides closed in March of last year, and it was not until this February when they started reopening again as a zoo.
You could come and see penguins and sharks and our dolphin presentation, learn about sea lions. A lot was happening as a zoo, and at that point we could demonstrate. We can keep people 6 feet apart, we can require people to wear their masks. We have a lot of plexiglass and special barriers in place.
Now that we're in the state's orange reopening tier, the park can reopen again at 25% capacity. And in addition to masking and social distancing, state officials want everyone who visits SeaWorld to be a California resident.
When you make that reservation, because reservations are required, then you will attest at that point that you are in fact from California.
Not everyone at the park was a state resident. We spoke to some who said they were visiting from places like Arizona. Officials are hoping people will be honest when buying their tickets.
We were here yesterday too, and then we heard that the rides are supposed to open today.
Even with some restrictions, families are turning out.
We're gonna ride all the rides in SeaWorld.
Feels good to have some normalcy. I mean, the masks suck, but get cool ones like these.
SeaWorld laid off 95% of their staff when the pandemic first hit. Now with rides reopening, they're extending park hours and are currently filling open positions. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
You can add Universal Studios to the list of theme parks that are back open. Like SeaWorld, attendance is limited to California residents. One of the new attractions is a revamped Jurassic Park ride. Other rides are still off limits as Universal works with the state on COVID safety measures. While some attractions are getting back to normal, the San Diego County Fair isn't there quite yet. This summer, an alternative event called Homegrown Fun will run from June 11th to July 4th. It will be a scaled-down version of the fair with a mix of shopping, food, a Ferris wheel, and exhibits. With the fairgrounds being used as a vaccination site and California's limit on large gatherings, hosting a full capacity fair will be hard to do this year. COVID-19 was tough on people, but great for dogs and cats. There were high adoption rates and owners spent a lot more time at home. But not all pets fared as well as others. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson tells us how animal advocates are keeping them in the spotlight.
A backpack-sized sulcata tortoise chomps on lettuce leaves at its Escondido home. The turtle, named Ninja, is surprisingly quick when the food supply moves.
They are the terrible twos, but as a creature.
The Ecovivarium's Shelly Oneida speaks lovingly of an animal that was about the size of a saucer when it first came here.
They have all the wide-eyed wonder of a little kid and all of the destructive power of a tank, all just in one. It's great.
Ninja lives at the Ecovivarium because the tortoise's owners were locked in a domestic dispute. Animal control came to Susan Nowicki, the founder and director of the Ecovivarium. She says reptiles didn't get the same pandemic boost as dogs and cats.
The opposite happened in the reptile world. Suddenly, people were looking, meeting difficult circumstances where they were not able to care for the animal anymore because of job loss and the cost of the food and care and everything for the animal, and no programs out there to supplement like there are for dogs and cats. So they were left with having to find homes.
The facility's population swelled from 200 to 300 during the pandemic. Nowicki says in one case, a local pet shop owner just walked away from his business, leaving dozens of reptiles homeless.
What do you do with hundreds of animals that need to be cared for the next 30 to 50 to 100 years?
The animals have homes here, but Nowicki pays a steep price, thousands in extra vet and food bills each month at the same time that COVID cut them off from people.
Visitation and our outreach programming and birthday parties and all of those kind of things were how we paid for the animal care. And all of that went away.
Having kids interact with the animals is only possible now in small groups like the prearranged tour for the Alvarez family. Shelly Oneida is showing Levi the snake room.
The fun fact about these is they're very much like a USB. You put the camera on like 4 times. This is Miss Piggy.
That in-person interaction is what Nowicki says makes the Ecovivarium unique. School groups used to be drawn to the up-close experience. It also helped cultivate donors and people who might adopt some of the animals living here.
We do hands-on, full cross-curriculum education programs that COVID completely shut down, where the kids not only get to see the animals like they do at the zoo, they get to actually interact with them.
A local animal-friendly nonprofit hopes to help. The Animal Bond Academy produces YouTube videos that highlight some of the region's lesser-known animal rescue and advocacy groups.
Places like Penelope's Purpose that focused on pig rescue. We recently visited Libby Lou's in Boulevard, and they focus on cow rescue. So these are all animals that may not be on the forefront of people's minds, but we wanted to make sure that the Animal Bond Academy videos kept all of these organizations relevant.
The Academy's Annie Peterson says once she started explaining how different animal advocacy and rescue groups work, the list of future projects got longer quickly. People began reaching out to her.
I am still learning about new organizations, small organizations that I didn't know were in existence, new organizations that were planning on opening but didn't.
Nowicki says having the Animal Bond Academy video available is crucial to helping reestablish the Ecovivarium's contact with schools and the public.
They were able to see the people interacting with the animals and everything, and see the kids' eyes lighting up. And that is so impactful for somebody trying to figure out, is this a fit for my class, whether it's virtual or in person? Is it a fit? They see that and they understand exactly what we do.
Nowicki says anything that helps her organization's connection with the public will help her rebuild once the pandemic subsides. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
That's all for this special edition of KPBS News. I'm Amita Sharma. For all of us here at KPBS, thank you for joining us.